Hello everyone, welcome. So today we're making oil-free chole, and I've taken just about a cup and a bit of these choles, the dried chickpeas, and I washed and soaked them overnight. And when I'm ready to make it, I've got these whole spices, some cumin and fennel seeds, some coriander seeds, some black peppercorn, cloves, and black and green cardamom or elaichi. And I'm going to dry roast these spices just a little bit. So I will be using the powder spices as well, but I do like to use the whole spices also. And for whole spices, you do need to dry roast them a bit to get the flavor out. So now that I've got my spices dry roasted, I put them aside. I've got my trusty pressure cooker, and you can certainly use your Instapot or other, just boil it for a long time, I guess, in a pan or a pot. So I've added to the pressure cooker my washed, soaked overnight chickpeas. You can see that they grew in size, and I'm going to add some minced ginger and minced garlic. I just added the frozen cubes that I normally keep in my freezer. Sometimes I do keep some in my fridge, but I had just used up the last of it, so I'm just using the cube. It'll be fine. And now here I've taken a big, huge onion, one onion, and chopped it up roughly. Basically, it's, if you're using medium, use probably 1.5. I'm also going to use 2 tea bags, and these are, I have used just plain tea bags, but these ones are the masala chai tea bags. And my whole spices, I have roughly ground it up. I didn't use the electric grinder. I just ground it up by hand, so they're still fairly coarse. And I've added that to my pressure cooker. And now I'm going to add salt to taste. This is a little spoon, and it's about half a teaspoon each time. So a quarter teaspoon of the red chili, about half a teaspoon of the black pepper, and a whole teaspoon of the coriander powder. And I also decided to add some cumin seeds. I know I've got them already roasted in there, but these are the not roasted, so it'll give both flavors. And now I'll just put enough water to cover the mixture in the pressure cooker, and put the lid on, and I will cook it on high till the first whistle. And once the first whistle comes, I will turn the heat to medium and cook it for 15 minutes. So I found for my cooker, the 15-minute time is just perfect. It still keeps the bean whole. The chickpea is still whole. It's not like mashed and stuff like that, so I like that. Obviously, some people prefer to mash up their chickpeas a bit, and if you do, please go ahead. So here my pressure has released normally, and as you can see, it's cooled enough that I can actually take out my tea bags by hand. Here you can see my chickpeas are well cooked, and I just kind of stir everything up. I'm tasting it to see what's up with the salt, and here I can, it's perfectly mashable by finger, and that's just the right consistency that I want. So now to finish cooking this, I took one big tomato and I put it through my food processor to get the tomato puree. And you'll see the amount is about half a cup of tomato puree. And that's enough for these choles. But the tomato I found was not sour enough. So I'm going to add a bit of the Amchur powder as well, just to bring that sourness to the chole, which which just makes it delicious. But for now, I've added some more water, and I'll give it a good stir. So yeah, so Amchur powder is basically dried mango powder, and if you don't have that, you can certainly add lemon juice. So here's my Amchur powder. So I just stick the baggie on it just so I know exactly what's in the bottle. You know, at some point I'm going to get to labeling them nicely, but obviously now's not the time. I just don't have the time. So because I tasted it, I've adjusted the spices as I want. I added a bit more salt, and I also added half a teaspoon of garam masala. Now you can add cinnamon powder or whole cinnamon when you are adding the grounds, the whole spices. You can also add bay leaf when you're boiling it, but for some reason I'm just off those two spices. So obviously add whatever spices you like. I'm off cinnamon and bay leaf, so I excluded those, and I have given the full recipe in the description box. So the recipe for how I'm using it or how I'm cooking it over here. And over here, you need to boil it with, once you put the tomato puree in, it needs to come to a boil, and then boil for at least 10 minutes till you see the foamy bits kind of almost disappear like it is over here. And then I'm going to add a final touch. It does need something sweet as well, and I like this tamarind date chutney. It gives that sweetness, and I added about 1 tablespoon of the tamarind date chutney just to give it that sweet note as well. So I've got the bitterness from some of the spices, and I added the sourness for the Amchur, and now I've added the sweet note. And this Choley are so delicious. Of course, you can eat it with kulcha or roti or bhatura or even rice. But what I'm going to do is, I did have some frozen chickpeas that I'm going to roast up. I just sprayed a little bit of oil on my pan, and I basically, roasted my frozen chickpeas till they were nice and brown, and it was just so delicious. You take some of the chickpeas and you add your cholas, and it's like that tikki chaat that you get in here. You'll see me make it. It's a great gluten-free option, and I just didn't want to have roti that day, so we decided to have chickpeas instead. So I took the 3 chickpeas. I'm making up a plate. Ladle on as much Choley as you like, and then you top it. I made a little bit of raita, so I'm going to add that in a bit. Here I've just added some raw onions chopped up for my tikki chaat. And here you see my raita. I just took some yogurt and thinned it out with milk and added some salt and roasted cumin powder, and that was it. So I'm going to top my tikki and Choley with this yogurt raita and a little bit more of the tamarind date chutney. And just as I was going to eat it, I remembered it'll be really delicious to add some green chutney as well. And this is my own homemade green chutney that I then took 1 teaspoon and sprinkled it over it, and oh my god, it was such a satisfying dinner. I did have one more even after this, but as you can see, it's a fairly generous size, and I was just greedy and I wanted to have one more tikki with a little bit more chola and the raita, and it was a very satisfying dinner. You must try it, and try making the cholas this way. If they are oil free, they just taste better. And if you like my recipe, definitely would appreciate a like and a subscribe. Thank you. Enjoy.